Hey, good morning. Welcome to a awkwardly warm day in March 2nd, I believe. Gonna have a high of about 70 degrees today. Figured now would be a good time. Go ahead and work up some ground that we keep our pigs in. We do a little patch of ground that we keep about anywhere from 6 to 10 pigs in. And of course, throughout the course of the summer, they rip it up completely. And you know, they do what pigs do. They dig, they wallow in it, and it ends up just turning into a mess with no living growth in it at all. So what I try to do every spring is I go ahead and I plant usually like a rye, or this year I'm doing a barley pea mix. I'm gonna hopefully work up the ground, get that in today, and then from there, by the time we get the pigs in the spring, and then by the time they actually go out there early summer, they're not just straight on dirt or 7-foot tall ragweeds. They're actually on something that is green that they can eat and they can root in and they can dig up. So it's a good cheap way just to make sure that they're on something that's actually grass and not just ragweeds or anything like that. So that's going to be the objective for today. Then hopefully after that I can get the disc hooked up. I can go up to the cornfield that we have, and I can start breaking up those corn stalks from where we picked in the fall. But that's the main objective for today, is getting the pig pen done. But first thing I got to do before I take the little Alice CA out there and start breaking it up with cultivators, got to get the old Oliver fired up, take that with the loader on it, and get this giant pile of ragweeds that was left over. I don't want that being worked into the ground, so I'm just going to dig that up, take a bucket full at a time, dump it in the burn barrel, and then go from there. Okay, let's see if I can do that with no choking. Okay, got a lot of that ragweed moved out of the way. So that's what we're looking at now. You can see I already got the CA out there. I was starting earlier today. And then the old wallow from the pigs we had last year was a giant hole. So I just kind of moved a little bit of dirt in here. Nothing pretty, nothing ugly. Just enough to make it so I don't have a giant lake before I even get pigs. I'm sure the next ones are going to do the same thing again anyway. But now I can go ahead. Our pig pen actually goes all the way past our elevator, pretty much up to that big box elder, past the old burr mill, to that corner right there. It comes through. I just had to move it last fall after the pigs were gone, and I put the elevator away for hay. And then we have just a little A-frame for shelter. They get shade from that tree. They get shade from the big box elder. And then right away when we first get them, we'll put them in here with fresh bedding. We'll fill this whole thing up with bedding. And this is where the piglets will be for a while until we end up just letting them out. And then they can have free reign of this whole thing. What we like to do is rotate garden pigs and flip-flop. We're not going to do that this year. Too much work. We're just going to see how the garden does, and then hopefully this year we can get, we'll have two batches of pigs that have been on this area, and then we'll flip-flop, and then hopefully next year we'll be able to see how big of a difference that made, and then we have some plans to revitalize the garden too. So how it sits right now, we're just going to do pigs in the same spot. So I'm going to plant that rye, that spring that spring barley pea mix today, and then we have nothing but warm weather coming up here in the future, and that we should have a pretty good set of vegetation here that they can be on by the time they're done with the A-frame and being weaned, and they come out here, they actually have something to go on. So now we get to fire up the old 1951 Alice Chalmers CA. Runs like a champ, and get to play around in the dirt, which is always fun. Now this might come as a surprise, honestly, nobody, but I'm not the most organized individual on this side of the Mississippi. So I'm actually been taking about 15 minutes out of my life to figure out where I have the perfectly sized log chain that I use for pulling my drag behind the four-wheeler. But fortunately enough for me, I found it. And I feel like there might be a lesson to be learned here about putting things back where they belong. So anyway, this is the seed that we ended up getting for the pig area. Just a pretty standard pea and barley mix, nothing crazy. Cost me like $35 from the co-op, and I think it's going to be a good $35 spent. So I'll go ahead, I'll grab that chain I finally found, I'll hook it up to the four-wheeler, we'll get my little drag section, and then I'll play farmer, and I'll start throwing this stuff out there by hand, and we'll work it in with the drag. And hopefully if I do a good enough job working it in, and we get lucky, the chickens won't go up there and eat everything that I planted. But unless you want to put up a fence, there's really no way around that. So I'll go ahead, I'll do it, and then I'll just pray that the chickens are distracted with other stuff. So My mild OCD can't stand when the chains are uneven and your drag ends up going like half a foot to the left or to the right. It's the little things in life that bother me. So I just want to show you what it actually looks like. You can tell basic grass seed, and then it's got the peas in there. And then I'll just throw that out, burn the whole 50-pound bag, which is going to be way too much, but I want it to be thick. So I'll just throw the whole 50-pound bag out here and then go ahead, we'll work it in with the drag and walk away and hope everything goes well. And there we have it. Got it all worked in with the drag. As you can tell, a lot of it is it's buried now, or at least has contact. My kids are gonna get mad at me when they found out I did this without them. They love to ride on the four-wheeler. But yeah, that's project one for the day is complete. Then this will come up. We'll get pigs in a month or two from now. And then I got a little bit of work to do on the fence. I'm gonna square it up and kind of push it out a little bit. You know, get the elevator out of the way, get the hammer mill or the burr mill out of the way. And then yeah, it'll be fenced in, 2-strand electric, and then the pigs will have a wonderful little lush haven that they can live in until we turn them into bacon.